Another aspect of the UK Technation Global Talent Visa that you don't need to worry too much about in your application is actually the letters of recommendation. I thought this was going to be really difficult and I worried way too much, and it turned out fine. So learn from my mistakes. Here's a couple things that I worried about unnecessarily. One was company letterhead. None of my 3 recommenders were allowed by their companies to use company letterhead, and this did not end up mattering. I just used DocuSign for all 3 of them and it was fine. Second, I was stressed out for some reason that it was going to be complicated to get the right evidence files from DocuSign to show where the person was when they signed it, their IP address, etc. But that was really easy. It's just the default of what DocuSign spits out when someone signs something for you. Next is I was worried because none of the 3 people were allowed to use their company email addresses on the letters. They had to use their personal email addresses. That was also fine. And lastly, I was worried that all 3 of my recommenders knew me from the same company, and that ended up being fine as well. They did know me from 3 different parts of the same company. I had worked across multiple teams, so I would say try not to just get 3 people from the same team. Try to have some variety. Okay, so those are the 4 things I worried about unnecessarily. Here's a couple things that you actually need to make sure you get right, but they're not too difficult. So first is make sure to actually have them cover the required points. So these are listed on the Technation Visa website, and they have to cover things like how long do they know you, what's their relationship to you, and stating that this letter is specifically for your application for the Technation Global Talent Visa. It's not something they're reusing from somewhere else. So make sure they cover that. Second, probably the most important, I would say, is similar to my last video about how your personal statement should mirror the stuff that you put in the 10 evidence documents. Same thing for the letters of recommendation. Not that each letter has to speak to all 10 of the evidence documents, that'd be too much, but strategically think about which of your recommenders can speak to the different pieces of evidence that you put forward in your evidence documents. So for example, for mandatory criteria 1, for the leadership portion, I had a document talking about how I had founded and led a data science team. And so I made sure to have one of my recommenders be my manager at the time who could talk about, how I had done exactly that and done a good job. So that's important to make sure that the recommenders are not talking about a bunch of other random stuff. I mean, they can throw in other things too, but make sure that they support the stuff that you put in the evidence documents. And lastly, make it as easy as possible for them to write the letters. So, start with 3 Google Docs, 1 for each recommender, put information in the Google Docs about what they have to cover, maybe put bullet points, maybe even write them sort of a skeleton draft with the different sections you want them to cover, and then they can put in the details. And then once they fill out the Google Doc and have it to a point that they're happy with, then you can download it as a PDF, upload it into DocuSign, send it to them to sign via DocuSign, and then you'll download the output, and those will be your 3 letters. So hopefully this helps. This is video 6 out of 7, so we're almost done, of this series of things I wish I had known when I was applying for this visa, which I eventually got, and now I'm able to be a permanent resident in the UK much quicker. I already am one now. I'm hopefully going to become a citizen next year, and yeah, hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have actually watched all 6 of the videos so far, and if it has helped you. I would love to hear that. And yeah, 1 more to go, coming soon.